my name's Bill. I'm going to be going over the new PICHC system for you guys. And today we're going to focus on getting started and some of the initial setup that program managers will have to take care of to get their program up and running. So there are a few updates coming, mostly cosmetic. Everything I'm going to show you is going to be the same once the updates go through. So you don't have to worry about anything changing on you. But so here we have the login screen. This is obviously not the correct URL. I'm running a local copy of the website. When we get your user accounts created, we will send you the actual website address. But so right now, I'm going to be logging in to an imaginary new program as an imaginary new program manager so that y'all can see what it's like to get in here for the first time. Well, I should back that up because the first time you need to get in here, you need to reset your password. So step one would be clicking right here, forgot password. You then enter your username, in this case, PICHC PM, and click submit. If those 3 steps are done correctly, you'll get this little message that says a password's been set to you. And so now I'm just going to wait. Here it is. You probably can't see my inbox right now. I'm just going to highlight the password, copy the password, and paste the password. Now you're going to notice that after I paste it and hit login, it says it's invalid because standard Windows functionality copies an extra space when you copy something. So I'm going to paste it again. I'm going to hit backspace once to get rid of that space character. And I'm going to log in. You can always type the password in by hand. That will, of course, work fine. But the one thing to keep in mind is if you copy and paste, you're probably going to pick up that space and you just need to delete it off the end. So as a program now, you'll see some of this news is old. I'm working off of old data. The functionality of the site is still the same. As a program manager, getting set up initially, the first thing you'll need to do are request accounts for all of the folks that you have underneath you that will be logging into the system. And for that, I went to settings here in the nav bar, and then I clicked on user request form here. You'll see it filled in some information for me because my user account is registered with this program. And I've also linked this user account to a worker record, which we'll go over in a minute. But the first responsibility is to submit requests for each one of the workers that you will need logging into the system. And so first, last name, email, and you can create a username. We tend to use the first initial plus the last name, but it can be really whatever you want as long as it's not a duplicate of something in the system. And then each user also needs to have a role assigned to their account, and there are brief descriptions of the roles here. You can fill these out one at a time and email them separately. You can also type out an email if you have multiple users to request. As long as we get this information here, whatever form it comes in is fine. And you'll want to send it to this email address right here, which is the same address that our support tickets come to. And someone on the team will handle creating the account for you. We'll take care of those, and whoever the account is for will receive notice that their account has been created. And the next step as a program manager is going to be to go and create a worker record for these workers that you've requested accounts for. And so we'll do that by clicking up here on account, going to my dashboard. You'll see we have a program dashboard here, which will summarize clients and workers and various other details of your program. To get to where we add workers, we will then select program detail, and on the resulting page, you can click add to add a worker. And you want to fill in first name, last name, so we can see the items that come up in red when I click submit are required. These are optional. The one important field you want to select so that the site functions properly for this person is this username field. As you can see, when I click here, it pulls up a few accounts that I've already created. And you would want to select the appropriate username for this worker. So you can see I've added a few. We have Pam, the program manager, and she is linked to the login PICHC PM. And we have Chuck, the CHW, and we've got Sarah, supervisor. And so I did this step in advance, adding these worker records, and then I went in and I selected the username. See PICHC CHW. The other step in setting up your workers is assigning supervisors. So if you're back on your program detail page and you select one of your CHWs or someone that will have a supervisor, you can select them. You can go to supervisor history here. I've already assigned Sarah. I could change the assignment and select someone else, or as time goes on and new supervisors are assigned, possibly I can add a new one and the date that they were assigned. And so this will set up dashboards for those workers so that they see the appropriate information. And I can show you what that looks like for Chuck. So I'm going to log out as Pam. I'm going to go in as Chuck. And we can see now with a worker record linked to a user account, the system sees that this person is a CHW and pulls in clients that have been assigned to them, and also some information pertaining to those clients. You can see right here, we have on the list, there's a little heads up for encounters and upcoming next 30 days and past due encounters. So this essentially looks at how long the client has been in the system and when their last encounter was, and says, okay, they're due on the 11th. Same is due for updates, except those are every 6 months, but it gives you the next 30-day outlook. And births here are expected births. And I'll show you how the system is figuring that out. So once your worker records are in, they're linked to the user accounts, supervisors have been assigned, then you're ready to start working with client data. And so you can start adding clients by clicking up here on the cases link. And you'll see we have one client in here assigned to Chuck. And so you can use the cases page to navigate to the clients. And here's the case homepage for that client. But I'll go back and show you how to add a new one. We would do that by clicking add. And that will take you to the initial contact form where we can fill out, and let's go through and fill this out. And there's some logic guiding these forms. If I were to click on outside referral, but not select a referrer, and I try to submit the form, I'll receive a message telling me that I need to select one. Conversely, if I select one here, but I haven't selected outside referral, the system will also complain and guide me in my choices. So once we get our initial contact form filled out, we can submit, and it'll take us straight to the case detail page for this new person. And you can see they're marked as pending on Chuck's caseload. This is because they've not gone through intake yet. We've only filled out the initial contact form. Once we fill out the screening assessment, they get an intake date. This will turn to green, and they will show up as an enrolled case. So that will really get you up and running. Does anybody have any questions so far?
Nothing in the chat. I think we're good to go.
Okay, so I guess I'll go over the bits and pieces in the case detail page here. You have some pieces of information that were entered on the initial contact form. You can always edit the person's name or birth date if necessary there. You can see intake date is blank. Again, that comes from the screening assessment. So this will automatically be filled in once the screening assessment is submitted. Similarly with discharge date, except the discharge date comes from the discharge form. We can see who is assigned to the case, Chuck. We can go to the history of assigned workers for this case. And because I'm logged in as Chuck and I am only a CHW, I am not allowed to go to the worker history page, because on that page you can change who is assigned to the case. So this is a page that is only for supervisors. Now you can see the dashboard's changed. When I log in as a supervisor, Chuck is one of my supervisees. So Chuck comes up on my list. And instead of prompting you for encounters and updates, it shows you forms that need to be approved. But anyway, back to our CHW history. I can get to the case real quick by just clicking here and here. So now as a supervisor, I can go into, well, I guess it's just a program manager ability. Program managers don't get handy little dashboards. Success. So as a program manager, you can update who this client is assigned to. I'm not going to change it right now for fear of more embarrassing errors, but anyway, should someone leave their position, you can change who the client is assigned to, and so that that new user's dashboard is appropriately updated. Moving along, we have some indicators that pulled data from various forms. Currently pregnant, the expected delivery date, and the gestational age are pulled from the most recent reproductive history interval, which are located on the screening assessment and the update forms. You can see here we have the question currently pregnant, the expected date of delivery, and then the system does a little math to figure out the gestational age of the child thus far. So when this form is filled out, it's a bit long, but not much is required, then these bits and pieces will start to fill in for you. Insurance status, similarly, there's an insurance question on the screening assessment. Life course is an updated version. It came along about halfway through last year. It looks at a bit more data in the system to try to predict what the current pregnancy status of a client is, whether they're prenatal, postpartum, or interconception or something like that. And so it will use more data from more of the forms, like when children are added to the system and a few other items. And we have this twice. It calculates their status when they were enrolled, and it calculates their status as of today. So maybe they came into the program and you filled out the screening assessment and it was marked currently pregnant. So Life Course would display prenatal at enrollment. And if that's the only form in the system, they'll both say prenatal, but as time goes on, the child is born, the child is added to the system, the current Life Course will change and display postpartum. Well visits are medical visits on the encounter form, I believe, and these are also items on the encounter form, I think in the activities section. And
Could you tell me where the birth plan completed and breastfeeding education is taken from?
Yes, for that, I think I'm going to need to add the screening assessment in order to open up the encounter form. So let me just get this in here minimally. And if you're ever curious about what is required on a form, these things can always be submitted in multiple attempts. You could fill out the required information and then come back and edit and fill in more. If you ever can't remember, you can just go to the bottom and hit submit, and you will get a message for each thing that needs to be checked off. And you'll also get these little red required. And again, there's some more conditional logic here. I said yes. If I tried to submit, I would then get a message telling me I needed to select an insurance. Because I said, yes, currently pregnant, it's going to ask me to fill these in if I don't. All right, so the screening assessment is in. You can see the intake date's been updated. Yes, we're currently pregnant. We put in the expected delivery date.
So where's the breastfeeding education coming from? That's what I asked about, the breastfeeding
Yes.
education and birth plan.
So on the encounter form, which opens up once the screening assessment goes in, here's birth plan. And I believe it's that one.
Okay,
Um,
let's see what happened.
We can test my memory. Here's where you would enter client medical visits. Click in the box, we get a little list. And only you can see the stars right here. This will save with only these two entered. These two on the right are optional. Same thing for baby medical visits, baby immunizations work exactly the same way, and referrals. So then we can submit. And see, we have birth plan completed, yes. Breastfeeding education, yes. So if any encounter is filled out for a client and those boxes get checked, then that will result in these flipping to yes.
So Bill, we have a question in the chat. I'm not quite clear on the answer. So it says, why on some CHW accounts, when you enter child and pregnancy, the system changes the client from prenatal to postpartum? But on another CHW account, after completing that form, they need to do an update form? Not quite clear on the questions. Maybe you understand it better, or maybe Eleanor can be more, can restate it.
Are we referring to life course here?
I don't know. It doesn't say life course. Eleanor?
Hi, sorry, this is
Hi.
Eleanor. So I have 3 CHWs.
Mhm.
On 2 of the CHWs for accounts, they just entered the child in pregnancy and that the baby was born,
Mhm.
and it automatically changes the life course to postpartum.
Mhm.
But another CHW account, she has to fill out an update form on top of the the child and pregnancy form in order for the life course to change.
You'd want to check the dates because it's going off the birth date of the child. It kind of, the way the life course works is the system constructs a timeline essentially of the reproductive history interval I showed you where we ask currently pregnant.
Mhm.
And it also then looks at the birth dates of any children entered and constructs this timeline of events and looks at the most recent event to determine, what the status is. So the way I understand the system to work is if that child's birth date is the most recent date
Mhm.
in this timeline, then it's going to say postpartum or interconception, depending on how far away from that birth date we are. It doesn't sound.
It's like the only problem is like she inputs the date of the child birth and the birth, the birth, they have those little tabs where it says upcoming births, it does not change until she does the update. But she entered the date of the child being birthed under children and pregnancy.
Oh, are you, let's see, I think, are you talking about on her dashboard, the way it says
Yes.
births? Right, okay, so that might need to be revisited, and that's separate from this life course situation.
But you see, on the other CHWs, once they enter the date on that, it automatically changes the life course and remove like the birth on the dashboard. It's like removed.
Yeah, that sounds like the dates aren't lining up properly. And this is a great issue for a support ticket, because we can
Okay.
dig in and we can look at the dates and the specific cases, because there's data that's throwing off the system, and we can get in there, we can find it. You know, and something might need to be adjusted, but that's definitely something we can take care of. But it'll take some time because we'll have to look at the actual data to figure out exactly what's going on. I can kind of take a guess right now, but yeah, even if the CHW wants to put in a ticket directly, you know, we're happy to converse with anyone with any specific problem they have.
Okay, great, Will. So I'll tell her to put in a support ticket.
Yeah, that'd be great. We can definitely explain what's going on.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So let's see. So we've seen a screening assessment, we've seen an encounter. The update form is similar to the screening assessment. It's essentially the same form, just done at 6-month intervals. There are a few questions that are different because the screening assessment is kind of kicking off the process. For instance, on the screening assessment, you don't see been pregnant since last follow-up. So there are slight differences, but essentially they're the same. So let's see. Any other questions? It's been about a half an hour already.
Hi,
Hi.
my name is Ima. I'm always wondering why with the first initial encounter and the screening form, we not supposed to put you just say that it's actually pretty much the same, right?
The screening assessment and the update. They're very similar forms.
And about the dates, the initial contact and the screening.
I see, yes. Okay,
That-
so those are different, yes. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, about the dates. What is the reason they cannot be on the same date?
Is there, so you're saying you put in an initial contact and a screening assessment and you try to put it in for the same, you try to set the intake date to the same as the initial contact, and you're getting an error?
I wonder why we cannot do it on the same day.
Well, I can only give you the technical reason. It's because there's a piece of code in there with a less than sign.
Okay. All right.
If it needs to be changed to less than or equal to, that is certainly something we can do. I guess it's a kind of a policy question, but it's certainly something we can change. But I'm not sure what the correct answer is. Is there anybody out there who can tell me why?
No, but we would need that request to come from Cindy or Ronkai, who would let us know if that particular piece of code is not following correct program procedures.
Correct. So, so when you notice stuff like this, it's great. You really want to put in a support ticket, because we can then reach out to DOH if we don't know the answer, and we can try to figure out why this, the code is the way it is, and it may very well need to be changed. And so the support ticket is a great way to get that process started, because otherwise, it'll just stay the same, basically. But if that is, I'll take
Thank
note of
you.
that right now, and I'm gonna, after this meeting, I'm gonna send an email and see if we can't get that rolling, because really it's a simple fix and we could have it fixed right away, so. So don't wait till trainings to let us know. You can contact us anytime.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else?
There's a couple in the chat, but there's one about page 59 of the screening forms, but Marguerite. And I'll just respond to Laura's question here.
Nice.
Hello,
Hello,
good morning.
good morning.
On the screening form, can you go back to the screening form?
Certainly. Oops, not screenings.
Yes. All the
Okay.
way down on, I think 59, it says issues.
Yes, 59, all the way, this guy.
Yes,
Yes,
okay. You fill only one row. So
yes.
if we don't fill the 4 rows, it's not gonna be on submit. How come you filled out only 1 row and then you submit?
I only filled out the 1 row because I didn't want to hold everyone up. The system is only programmed to require the first column. And so I wanted to get the form into the system to show you what some of the changes would look like. I mean,
But if you
certainly,
answer yes, right, Bill? If you answer yes, then it's required.
no,
Oh,
no. The
Oh.
only requirement for this section is that a selection is made in the leftmost column.
well,
Okay.
It was originally there was none, and now we have that, and might be something different in the future. But as it stands now, and you can see the options, they save, but they're not required. It's only this first column that the system will complain about if it finds a blank. I see a question from Anne. We are a new program. CHW is on the former PICHC grant, and our county will be staying on and continuing to serve current caseloads under our program. Can we move their dashboards / clients to our account? Yes, essentially what you'll need to do, Anne, is the CHWs will log in the same way, but we will give them CHW access to the new program. And so when they log in, they'll be given a choice of the old program or the new. And to see the new clients, they would have to select the new program. The only thing you'll have to do is in the new program, you'll have to add new worker records because the system doesn't cross the program boundary. So that, what I showed you earlier about going up here, program detail, you would want to go through and do this again to add them and to link their username. And once we get the the access set up for them, you'll see their usernames in this list when you're in the new program. Oh, Lara, I got an email from Ronkai this morning about the DB assessment. Yeah, we're gonna make that change. I think right now the system is only looking to see if the actual, DB
Okay, thank you. That
questions
would be
are
great.
answered. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. It's a simple fix. Looking document clients served this quarter that we did not open as a full CHWSS client, provided intermittent referrals and sports too. I'm not sure about that one, Lara.
Because the New York State Department of Health guidance for us is that 10 to 15 intermittent clients, which is a hefty amount of work. And if it doesn't meet the criteria of a full assessment, where would those folks go for reporting purposes?
I'm assuming you would add, well, because I'm not really the man to ask, it's more of a DOH question, but I think with no screen, then you're just talking about an initial contact. And I believe now once you have an initial contact in, you can come down here into screenings and referrals, and you can add them
Okay,
separate from,
doing a full assessment.
right, because this was a
They're
problem.
not assessed because they're not clients. They're just, we provided them 1 or 2 bits of information.
Right, and so this stuff was locked down. You couldn't add referrals, and so the strategy to respond to that was to pull these assessments. So like audit C is in the screening assessment, but it's also here. And so you don't have to fill out a screening assessment. You can add an audit C here. There's an interesting quirk in the system where if you fill out a form that contains one of these screens, but you don't fill out the screen, it still shows up on this list because there's still a little bit of data going into the system that sort of represents a holding place for this assessment. And so when we pull in the data, whether or not they've actually been filled out, they'll appear. We do our best to tell you if it's been completed or not. And if you ever want to go back to view one that's been filled in a screening assessment or an update form, you can click here and it'll take you to that form. Of course, in this one, you saw before that it's not filled out. But you could ignore those completely and only add them here. They still get pulled into the reports and treated the same way. It's just the way we set up the data entry in response to the fact that not all clients have a screening assessment, and therefore a lot of the data entry remains locked down.
I'd like to interrupt for a second, and there's a little confusion going on, and with programmers, when we speak, we sometimes don't truly understand the question. So Ann Battaglia asked, will current clients transfer? And the answer was, yes, they will. I think what Michael was saying to you was that when the new system goes live, PICHC, those clients will still be in your system. But are you saying you're creating a new program which will have completely like on a separate contract? Or are you asking will current clients transfer to the new program?
We are a separate contract, brand new program, new
They will
contract.
not transfer to a new program. So Bill, is there a way, I mean, do we just change the name of the contract if it's going away? How does that work? The question is, will current clients transfer? But are you getting a completely new program with completely new workers, or just just changing your grant?
We have a completely new grant.
Okay.
We're a new entity.
New entity.
We are working closely with the former PICHC program, whose community health workers are going to stay on and work under our contract under an MOA.
So that might be something Bill can either answer, or we might have to speak with Cindy and Ronkai, because the application does not automatically transfer clients from one program to another. There's a wall so that people can't see other people's clients.
Apologies for the misinformation. That's my bad.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, let's see. If we change the name of your program, everything stays the same, except now it's called something different.
Exactly.
I mean, you know, but that's not right. If we need to make a new program with new workers and new clients, then the two are going to diverge. We can, if workers need access to both, we can give them access to both, and then when they log in, they can choose, you know, one or the other.
But I would be wary with that method, because people sometimes forget where they are and they enter new people into an old program. So that could cause some human error issues. So this is something, either if it's a brand new program, I believe you will not be able to transfer your clients. If it's something where Bill said is correct, if we're allowed to just change the name and remove other people's access, everything would stay the same. That would be a call we cannot make. It would be definitely something Cindy or Ronkai would have to let us know if it's acceptable for this new program to have full access to all the data from the previous program.
Thank you.
Chris, this is Cindy. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, hi. Sorry, I was having a little computer trouble. So I know Ronkai did send an email to you guys about this, and if I'm not mistaken, you're going to have the same workers are going to be seeing the same clients, so that there's not an interruption in services, correct?
Correct.
So the only thing changing is the entity.
Correct.
Right. So basically, you know, the former Mitch is now going to be like a subcontract, if you will, under your organization.
Yeah,
Or the health worker services.
yeah. If
But-
Ronkai can send us very clear details on that. She sent us the list of the 5 new programs, but did not specify
Okay.
which one was taking over for which program managers
Okay.
are leaving. It's a lot of detail. We were going to create 5 brand new programs. So if she could reply or create a new email detailing exactly how that's supposed to work, that would be really helpful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ronkai, are you on the call?
I saw her earlier.
So I do remember seeing something about that, but so there you are. If you could just,
So I'll send you email if you have the details.
Yeah, as detailed as possible. We are kind of, as programmers, we kind of follow like a step-by-step order. We see new program, we just are creating a new program. We don't even think about existing programs. So yeah, just as detailed as possible would be fantastic.
Wonderful. Well, I'm glad I asked the question, because I think this is going to really help with continuity of care.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to re-enter everything. If it's the same workers and the same clients, just going by a different program name, we just hang a new sign out front and everything stays the same.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Wonderful. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay, we are recording this. We will put this up for posterity's sake at some point up on YouTube. And if no one has any more questions, though, we will be ending the call. And I believe the next one is Wednesday at 10 a.m. It's going to be a different type of meeting, more like, but so if you have any more questions, yes.
I have one question for the wall visit. I didn't hear if he explained that. Where does the wall visit get picked up?
The well visit is going to be let's see. It's on one of these 1,000 report form items. You know, let me look it up and email you.
You could probably email all of us so that.
Okay, yeah,
we get
sure.
on board. Okay, because does it change once they, like, is that the status when they first come? And then once you provide the service, is there a place
Yeah.
where they're gonna show and then it up, you know, it updates it?
Yeah, exactly. There's one similar to the breastfeeding education and the medical care source and the health insurance and stuff like that. Once a specific item is filled out, and I just can't remember which one that is.
Phil, this is Eleanor. Isn't the well visit only under interconception? If it's a prenatal client, well visit is not, that's a prenatal care visit.
Yeah, I mean, most likely, right. You're
Under the
right.
life
The
course
well
will be
visit
intercon-
for the mom or the child?
No, well, the well visit, the annual well visit is usually under interconception. If they
Yes,
went through the
so-
annual, and then the well visit for the baby isn't it usually under children's and pregnancies?
Let's see. Insurance time, postpartum visit scheduled. No, I don't think it's any of those. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll have to look at the code. It's one of those form items. I just can't remember.
Bill, before we end this, could you also show them where the user manual is located?
Sure. A couple different spots you can use to get there. Right on the home page, which you can get to by clicking home, or the logo over here. It's right here, and it's just a PDF. Take you through a lot of the same stuff we talked about today, and a lot of other things we didn't talk about today. And there's also, if you go to settings, there's another link here. Same document. And you can download that, save it, whatever you like.
So I just want to be clear, the well visit that's there is the mom or is it the child
I'm
on the top?
pretty sure it's the mom.
Okay,
But
I'm
I
just
just
making sure. Okay,
I'll email you. I'll
Okay.
send you a note. Okay, it'll take me a few minutes to dig into the code and
Okay.
remind myself. But yeah, I'll send you a note.
okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you for everyone joining us. We will definitely get this up on YouTube and look forward to everyone using the system starting July 1st, which I'm not sure how many people are going to use it July 1st, considering the long weekend coming up, but maybe July 5th. And any questions, like Bill said earlier, please send them to support. We will definitely get to them. It's the fastest way of getting your information. Direct emails usually aren't good because especially summertime, people take long vacations. You might be waiting a long time to hear back. So just send in a support ticket and we have 6 different people who can take a look at it for you.
So just to be clear, so the data system is going to change over automatically and we're not doing anything?
Correct. If you go to PICHC, which is the current website, PICHC,
Uh-huh,
you're going to get automatically redirected to a new website. And that website will tell you that the old PICHC website will be deprecated on 12/31. So if you keep going to the old PICHC and you don't stop and don't change your URL or your bookmark, on January 1st of next year, it's going to give you like a 401 error. It's going to be, it can't find anything.
okay, when we were gonna, no
You
one
have
said
plenty of
that
time to make
to
it.
us. Okay, so can you give us instructions on how to do that? Also, if you can send the
On how to
email.
create a bookmark,
No, how to get in the new system.
you'll just type in where you currently go. and it'll get you to a new login page. Once you're there, just bookmark it.
Yeah,
As of July 1st. Not
July
now.
1st, correct.
right. There will be some overlap. You'll still be able to go to the old one, July through January, and it'll bring you to the new one. But really, the only difference is the M, you know, it's PICHC.Azure websites. The M is changing to a P.
Okay,
That's the only difference. So you can start typing in the P instead of the M after, you know, Thursday. And that'll bring you, that'll be the new spot. And that'll be the reliable, you know, that will be the same after January 1st. It's the M that's going to go away.
Yeah, and if you do have any issues bookmarking the new application, again, support tickets are your friend. Just pop in there and send a support ticket. We'll help you out.
So Chris, if we want to pull down reports, we need to pull them down before what date?
No, you don't have to pull them down before any date. The same site is going to be up and running, no differences.
Okay, so we could pull MICHC reports out of the PICHC.
Yeah, all we're doing is changing the location.
Okay,
It's going to say PICHC. The little thing in the top left-hand corner will say PICHC, but nothing's really changing on the application. It's just
Okay,
an
perfect.
interface being laid. The data is still the same on the
Yeah,
back.
it's still looking at the same database. So all the reports are going to be continuous. You know, it's July 1st is going to be arbitrary essentially to existing programs and clients. Yeah,
okay, great, thank you.
no problem.
Okay, so thank you so much and have a great day. We will see some of you, I believe, on Wednesday. Until then, any questions, send them to support, or July 5th, we'll see you all on the new site. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.